Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we're back with episode 16 of SDF Macross. But before we get into the episode, let's go ahead and get into the comments. Ruben Vilmuya, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, from SDF Macross episode Booby Trap says, "Oh yeah, we watching the classic, the original Macross. This is a solid anime. It's not perfect, but it has its 80s charm. Get ready for some space opera drama with epic mecha space battles. Love triangles and pop idol culture all in one. I'm legit excited for this."
That's a pretty accurate summary, yes.
I mean, as you can tell, Lessons went out and bought a jet. Alright. Well, Ilios Quadruple Zero from SDF Macross episode Countdown says, "Officially, they aircraft are called variable fighters, hence the VF-XX naming. The VF sorry, my voice just went there. The VF-1 had the nickname Valkyrie, as in VF-1 Valkyrie. The same way, say, people know the F-15 as the F-15 Eagle, or A-10 as the A-10 Thunderbolt II. Later VFs have other sames as well, namely YF-19 Excalibur, etc., but because how game-changing the VF-1 was, and its name Valkyrie became slang for any variable fighter. It's a bit like the Mobile Suit slash Gundam thing. All Valkyries are variable fighters. Not all variable fighters are Valkyries. Also, the middle form of the VF Gerwalk, is that how you say it?
Yeah, Airwalk, yeah.
It
Gerwalk, yeah.
yeah, is acronym for Ground Effective Reinforcement of Winged Armament with Locomotive Knee Joint. The robot form is called Batroid. Min Mei is more like 15 at the start of this. Hiriko is like 16. Macross also starts the catch the girl in with the cockpit open trope. It becomes very common is later shows in the timeline. VF1 is about the size of F18. The F14 much bigger. The VF0 was close in size to the F14. Later VFs like the VF19 and VF21 are close again in size to the F14. Sorry, I'm reading this exactly as it's written, so sometimes my brain jumps to the next word thinking it's going to be a different word. And for some reason, god damn it, my brain wants to say FV and not VF every time.
Mhm. Yeah. Everything he said, the commander said was accurate. So yeah, it stands for variable fighter. Transformable fighter essentially. And yeah, I think you was a picture many moons ago
Up two next to
about
each other. Yeah.
yeah, F14 and the VF1-1,
Oh, I thought you were talking about the picture of two jets on the flight deck, and you were telling me one
Yeah.
was one and one was the other.
Yeah, that's size comparison. One is an F14 and the other one is a Valkyrie, a VF1.
Oh, sorry, I was thrown because you said VF1, and I was thinking of the variable fighters.
Yeah. Okay. One is
I'm
an
I'm
F14.
I'm
The
talking
other one
about
is a VF1, the Valkyrie.
I'm talking
One is
about
a
the variable
Tomcat, the other
fight.
one Valkyrie.
I'm talking about the
Yeah,
variable fighters from the show.
exactly. Let me repeat for the audience and for you, just in case. The size comparison between the F14 Tomcat, A, B, C, and even D versions, and the VF1 Valkyrie is that the Valkyrie is slightly smaller. Also, by the way, you can also tell because of the square foot thrust, and it's a tailless design. It doesn't have a tail. It doesn't have
If I remember to do so, I will download the picture that you sent, and I'll try and put it down here in the overlay below, so people just know what we're freaking talking about. But I think my confusion is I keep saying from the show, and I in my head am remembering the picture you sent being a real life photo.
actually I think it's just two models. Like somebody took two model planes and put them side by
That is
side.
the source of my confusion. Is that I thought you
Yeah.
sent me a real ass picture, and I'm like, no, the one from the show, and you're like, yeah. I'm like, no, this is real. Okay. Anyways,
Um,
next up we have Seraph Aramos from SDF Macross episode Countdown. The alien battle pods really aren't much taller than the aliens themselves. The pilot literally balls up inside the cockpit to operate it. Just another reason I think they're dumb.
I think they're just supposed to be cheap, you know,
That's what I want.
Rangers of War.
That's
Yeah.
what I want. I was like, uncomfortably balled up in a tiny little death pod. Deadly for me, not for them. All right, next up we have Warlock. Not Warlock. There's no Warlocks here. Warlord BK from SDF Macross episode Countdown. Regarding the reactive armor that the Armored Zero had, that was a proper name for it, and it's different from ablative armor. Ablative armor will spall heated material. I guess it means spill heated material as it is
No, it's
hit
Paul.
and say what?
It is Paul.
It is
It's,
spall.
yeah, it's spalling if essentially breaks apart as it gets hit, as opposed to other types of armor, which either takes a hit or don't. It's like a crumple zone in a car, or the way Formula One cars sort of tear themselves apart when they hit a wall, kind of like that.
I guess this is the instance I just never heard the word spall before. That's
Yeah.
what. Okay. Well, it will spall heated material as it is hit and is designed to shed layers to maintain the structural integrity of the lower layers. Reactive armor will fire a metal plate off, so it sets off a shaped charge before it hits the vehicle, and thus waste its penetrator before it can do its job. You can see in slow motion that the armor on the Zero exploded towards the incoming fire. It kind of reminds me of what is that? The anti-rocket thing they have in some tanks, or at least
Yes.
prototype tanks.
No, it's pretty common these days. It's all armor that is added is called applique armor, but reactive armor
Oh no,
it's
no. I
well,
mean,
ERA blocks. Yeah.
sorry, I realized I just said that with thinking my own thought and didn't put it out there. I know ablative armor is actually real, and I guess reactive armor, as you're saying, is also real. But I'm talking like the when they were talking about the armor shoving itself off in the direction of the incoming fire. Like they have that system on some tanks, or at least I've seen it in prototype displays of how they think it would work. Of that shit that fires off of a tank to hit incoming rockets
Oh
just
yeah,
before impact.
that's an active defense system. The Israelis already have one deployed. The Americans might deploy it sometime in the future. Basically, it's like firing a bullet against another bullet, basically.
Right, right. It just reminded me of that when they said, that the armor fires itself towards the incoming round. Anyway, final comment here. Michael Connor from SDF Macross episode Countdown. Space Battleship Yamato slash Star Blazers is a must watch. While the US version Star Blazers changes some names, notably the ship, they stick pretty close to the intentions in the script. It is now considered a canon translation, and the company that owns Yamato bought out the US rights holder. It also takes place in the same universe as 999 and Captain Harlock, just a different point in time.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
mean, have you seen either of those before?
Well, I saw
999 and
Captain
Harlock,
Har.
I mean.
Yeah, I saw both 99 and Harlock when I was a little kid. I remember. I mean, the one cool thing about Harlock was the fact that the ship had this giant blade in the middle, and it would ram enemy saucer ships, and it was pretty cool.
See, my thing is, I only saw like a really recent CGI Harlock movie. I did just recently actually react to Galaxy Express 999, the George Corman, whoever it is, version that they made for early 1990s U.S. television release with English, because it's the very first thing I ever saw in anime,
Yeah.
and we had an open slot, and I figured I gotta fill this with something. React to the very first anime I ever saw, and man, it was bad.
story's a bit
Well, I
confusing.
think they like Captain Harlock is supposed to make a cameo appearance in that, and he does, but it's Captain Warlock or something like that. Like they changed the names and everything. It is weird. Anyway, those have been our thoughts. Comments. Before we get into thoughts, how about you hit us with a recap lessons?
Yeah. Last episode, episode 15, Chinatown. We had a weird split between Misa and Global going to Alaska to debrief UN headquarters, UN Space Command, uh, top brass, and Ming Mei going with Hikaru to visit her family, mom and dad, in Japan. Along the way, bad things happen along the way. The UN basically declared everybody aboard the SDF-1 dead because of quote unquote a terrorist attack by the remnants of the anti-UN forces, who somehow also managed to blow up the entire island and leave a gaping hole in the ocean. So basically, they shaved off the top of a mountain. That's what an island is, and and then Lin Min Mei and Hikaru pick up a passenger, which is Min Mei's cousin Kaifun, who is a jackass. I'm just gonna say it. I don't like Kaifun. You're not supposed to like Kaifun. Nobody likes Kaifun.
Pretty sure I have something in my
Just
notes about him not being a good guy. So
he is just the word. I mean, he is the image of this college kid, who just learned about how horrible the world is, and he thinks he has all the solutions, and he just blurts it out. It's like, "Oh, this is bad," and blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, I get it, but you don't. There's a little bit of context that you're missing here."
I'm pretty sure the next time on indicates that everyone's having to deal with him in this episode. But I think you really get that in his conversation with Hiroko. Like right when he gets there, because he starts off nice, like, "Oh, you saved my sister. Oh, you're in the military, huh? What's so great?" Or "You're in the military, huh?" And he like blames him for shit. And he's like, "Wasn't in the military when he saved me. He joined after." "Oh yeah, what's so great about the military?" Everything after the first sentence is a confrontation.
Yeah. Once his ideological switch is flipped, that's it. We're stuck with him.
By the way, I love that the United Nations killed 50,000 people in an instant.
Anti-UN.
No, no, no. The UN. The UN killed 50,000 people in an instant. They
How?
decided that these people were dead. So they're dead.
Oh, they declare them dead. Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah, with a pen stroke, they killed 50,000 people in an instant.
Yeah, well, that's government for you.
All right. Well, before we get to the thoughts section of this, let's go ahead and go over to the board real quick, where again I've had more time, so I was able to add a bunch of people that should have been added, and reconnect everybody up. So I guess my first thing is, do you have any immediate thoughts on first viewing?
Um, Not really. I mean, let me see. Oh yeah, we have Lin Kai-fun down here. This guy's dead. Okay, we have the bridge. No, we have. Oh yeah, we have Misa's father. Uh,
The White
where is
Hat crew.
yeah, Takashi Hayase. Yeah. Uh, Maestroff, remember that he basically was a clone of Global when he came in, Colonel Maestroff.
Yeah, even his
Like,
hair was green.
yeah, for a moment it was like, what the? Oh, okay, it's a different character. And he basically acts exactly the same, right?
Bumps his
Which,
head, wants to smoke. Yeah, I
mhm.
mean, except his is cigars versus a pipe.
And of course, Shami calls him out on it because we're not supposed to smoke on the bridge.
Yep, and then even in the same episode, Global is like, when the AI or whatever it is tells him you can't smoke in the pod, and it's like, first it's Shammy, now it's the goddamn computer.
Yeah, I also remember commenting that those transports were huge. I mean, it almost looked like they were in a small cruise ship because how many people are there supposed to sit in there? Or I guess most people, but it's weird. It's very big, but only has two couches. So I guess if you fill them up with people, they're just supposed to be standing like they were in I don't know,
I was about
a
to say the
train
more
that's
damning thing would be the giant open space in the middle without any chairs or anything, but I guess you could
yeah.
just use it to transport material goods too.
Or maybe it has handrails or something. People just have, grab them on
I
the
don't know. Like you
or
said,
top.
it's massive and circular, which indicates that there's
Uh-huh.
a giant open spot in the middle, which I guess maybe just putting like pallets on there, right? Pallets full of shit.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, we covered all of the Zentradi. I almost forgot how to say the name. The Zentradi from before, our infiltrating Zentradi group, and of course I put a little dot here to indicate that they might have relationships outside of themselves.
Oh,
Obviously,
I noticed one of the names of the guys.
like you said, I just pulled it.
Lolly
I pulled it from the
Lolly
behind the
Dosel.
thing. Does that
Lolly Dosel.
does that mean something?
Lolly in Japanese is basically short for Lolita.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, but I mean he's not the
So
cross-dressing guy either. That's this guy.
no, but still, the fact that they name him Lolly is like,
I
okay.
mean it's an alien name. I just appreciate that it's a name I can say versus these guys. But yeah, obviously the white line between our hotshot pilot dude over here and the female military commander because they, she got in his face, ordered him to retreat, but I don't consider that to be adversarial because they're still on the same goal. I don't think he's going to go out and try and kill her. We have the entire Lin family showing up on the board.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't think there's actually been that many other people introduced other than the Admiralty, or I guess the Commander
Hmm.
replacement captain.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll leave that up as we go into thoughts section. You want to go ahead and handle any thoughts that you may have going into this before we
Nope.
go into my pre-written ones?
Go ahead.
All right. Kridenak knows that they need new tech. He specifically points out that they should send spies in to get reactionary weaponry and ship repair technology. These guys just aren't Macross's versions of Pakleds. They know their deficiencies. We just haven't been shown or told why they are deficient or why they can't do anything about it on their own. Sorry, I guess that was more of just a note. Just a note. I guess I really just wanted to make that Pakled example.
Comparison, yeah.
So we know that the galaxy is a hostile place filled with conflict, according to the Centrati. They've also mentioned that the tech they could steal from the Macross would help them combat the Supervision Army, the same group they think the Macross itself came from. Then there is the protoculture that Misa suggests might be who the Zentradi were before they became giants to fight the Supervision Army. The Zentradi suggest that protoculture is still out there, as encountering it seems to mess with them in some way. So, to my reasoning, we have three separate non-human groups out there to be concerned about: the Zentradi, the Supervision Army, and the OG Zentradi, or civilizations like mankind that banded together that the Zentradi just collectively call protoculture. I don't know.
Seems like a fair summation, yeah.
I think my main point there was that the Zentradi consider something, the protoculture, to be what they were beforehand. So the possibility that there is an OG Zentradi out there versus just a bunch of us. Stupid thought, but do you think with the Zentradi that size has something to do with their ability to function? The largest of them are single-purpose soldiers without much else to them. Then you have Fulmo, who is half the size of everyone else and an archivist, the most intelligence-based position among everyone we've seen so far. Hell, then there's three Centrati get put into my clones. They start doing inferences about the world around them and learn more about the Macross than a Fulmo and a Krinek did in a year of trailing them. It seems like the
Hmm.
smaller they get, the smarter they get.
Maybe. Although I think they were already making inferences even when they were full size.
Well,
Yeah,
it might be a
they
matter
were the
of.
wrong ones.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I take it that smaller. Maybe you do have a point because these guys were even smaller than the average, the three spies, and they were recon pilots, right? So that was their job. And then you have your regular Centrati, which are bigger, and then you have Britai, who is even bigger, and then you have the overall commander, who is the tallest of them all. So I guess size does matter, you know, and they don't value, they call him an archivist, so I guess they don't value intellect as much. It's like, oh yeah, you're small enough, so I guess you get to do the you get to man the library for us.
Well, as you said, they'd make inferences, right? But we only pan over to them like once every couple of episodes for them to like make a guess about something. Versus our three infiltrators in tiny myclone bodies who are like having to figure everything out every moment of every time, every second they're on screen, which is a lot more than the big guys. And even when they're making inferences, back on like the Sanchati Bridge and everything, it's typically Fulmo who's coming up with ideas and like propositioning that they test them out, which then goes back to the fact that he's the intelligence-based guy and he's half the size of everyone else. It feels like this. I almost had an idea there for a second. It feels like the smaller you get, the smarter you get, or at least the more able to think you are. I can't remember. There was once a like a fantasy story that takes place on a planet where like orcs get smarter the hotter it is, or is it the colder it is? I can't remember the story, but the idea is that like there's season based intelligence, so you have wandering tribes of stupid ass orcs wandering the planet, and then when the season changes, you have to worry about them suddenly learning how to use tools and shit.
That's an interesting, if weird concept.
Well, I only bring it up because it belays the kind of similar thought style, right? That maybe the bigger they get, the harder it is for their bodies to function. Like maybe there's a biological element that a smaller you are, the
Hmm.
less your body's working against the environment. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just trying to think of a reason why this could be a thing.
yeah.
All right, next thought. Heyo and Genius are done dirty at the award ceremony. Misa got a the most heroic woman in space, and Hikaru rather got the hero who flies through the heavens on heavenly wings. Heyo and Genius essentially got these guys are here too. Well, I mean, if you think about it, they did well. Genius did most of the work, got none of the reward.
Yeah, but it's also, I think, a propaganda. I mean, he is the officer. They're the senior officers, and the fact, oh, a lady went to the secret mission and survived. Blah blah blah. It's pure propaganda, right? So, elevating somebody from a lower rank might be seen as unseemly.
I don't know. I think that would be the more propaganda move, right? Because that shows you that hard work and I don't know luck. I don't. You don't want to use luck. Isn't the word I want to use. I can't think of what I want to use. That hard work can lift you out of whatever position you're in. You want to give morale and motivation to the working people. People don't want to see somebody who's already doing well do well. You want to see someone who's doing bad do well. I don't know. This is also the 80s. Who the fuck knows? Was Colonel Maestroff always on the ship? Just another guy wearing the same uniform as the captain? In episode 13, when Global was going over the reports from the crew that went aboard the Centrati ship, no one on the panel that was sitting around him, judging everything on the ship, looks like Colonel Maestroff. That makes me assume he was someone that got flown out to maintain command of the Macross, while Misa and Global were being flown out to Alaska HQ for debriefing. But
Yeah.
then, does that mean that Maestroff is considered dead now too? The absolute
Yeah.
nature of all these people are dead when it comes to the Macross cover up is just so insane to try and figure out.
I think he's just a member of the crew, someone else, a senior officer. Probably he's a colonel. He's probably the command of all the destroids.
Plus,
So yeah,
why I
that's
went back and I checked out the episodes where we had people sitting in like, you know, like when they've gotten promotions before and they walk into a room with a bunch of. Actually, now that I just brought that up, I did not check that episode specifically. I went back to
Hmm.
the most recent one, which was 13, where I assumed Global had brought his command crew in.
Hmm.
Because it's him at the front of the table. He's got like his command staff on one side. He's got the returning pilots on the other, and
Hmm.
Maestroff is not one of the people beside Global.
I mean, they probably just created a character right then and there. You know.
Well, that's not the way that I want to think about the show. Lessons. I want to think
Yeah.
about the show as a well-written work that's not just raking stuff up as they go.
But as a writer, I can tell you that's usually how it works.
Well, I prefer more of a JMS approach if I'm gonna if I'm gonna look at this. I want the show to have been written 5 seasons deep before we watched the first episode. Anyway, that was my point. I just assumed that he got flown in and he had a sorry, honey, I'm gonna be dead. you know, I don't even know if it applies to the military crew, but obviously it does. It feels like
I
it
mean,
does.
it has to because they also probably also have family and friends and people who know them. You don't want this. You want a proper cover up. You don't need to. Oh, Tom, trust me. People in the military are very gossipy as well. So yeah,
Speaking of that, that's literally my next thought here. They are obviously doing a shit job at keeping tabs on their cover up as well. You'd think they would be flying interceptors all over the area to ensure that civilian air and water traffic didn't reach the horizon of the Macross. To be able to see it standing there would kind of give away that it survived. The people wandering around on the deck having a farmer's market would also imply survivors to anyone flying overhead. Oh, and that little thing about Hikaru and Minmay just flying off to the mainland to tell everyone that they're alive. This cover up fell apart before it was even announced. You look confused.
I mean, the whole cover up is confusing. So yeah.
Well, we tell everyone that the island exploded, that everyone died, except there's that farmer, I mean, not farmer, there's that fisherman who can see them across from his fishing boat. I mean, also, there's that commercial airliner that's flying overhead that can see everyone on the deck having a party, because we saw that happening that episode. We didn't stop anyone from getting off the Macross. So there's everybody. You know what? Actually, my next thought also covers this because it's too dumb to let go. It's kind of funny to think that Minmay is the first one to get flown off the Macross to see her parents. No idea who else is on the Macross that might want to get off immediately, but it seems like as soon as they landed, I don't know, famous Hollywood actress Janice Marin, who has been shown trying to get the spotlight on her since the first Miss Macross episode, would be trying her damnedest to get back out into the world where her fame would outshow some restaurant girl. I don't know. Just seems off to me. That famous Hollywood actress wouldn't get off the boat first. I see
I
you
mean,
don't
but
have
what?
that much of a problem with this as I do.
No, I don't. But at the same time, uh, what kind of pull would she have within the ship to get out? Right?
See, I guess
Because they were the ones.
when I
They're the
originally
ones who would dictate who gets out or not. Right?
well, apparently they weren't dictating anything during that day. They just let anyone go. But I guess to be fair, Minmay owns her own aircraft now. Uh, I think when I wrote it, I was specifically thinking the age of cell phone because I was literally thinking, why wouldn't she just call somebody, right? It's like, oh well, maybe they don't have access to anything. There's no large radio. Oh, wait, never mind. Just thinking about this off the top of my head. They have a large television transmitter that broadcasts deep into space when they're on their own little city that the Zentradi can pick it up. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure they're overpowering some rinky dink local station right now with their Macross broadcasting, which, by the way, is also letting everyone know they're alive. I'm pretty
Yeah, I don't
sure no
think.
one told them to stop broadcasting their TV station.
Well, they're also in the middle of the ocean, so yeah.
I don't know. This is the Macross. They have a pretty strong signal. The Centrati fleet was picking them up at some
Okay,
distance.
Yeah, that's true in space, but there's a thing called the curvature of the Earth.
We don't know where they landed.
I think they said the Atlantic, which is weird because they fly all the way to Japan.
Oh,
So
cool.
you
So
know, they said,
everybody who just looks up might have noticed Minmay flying overhead in a golden spaceship. Not spaceship, golden aircraft. That is even
okay.
worse, because conceivably, I don't know, if you're taking the curvature of the Earth into aspect, then that doesn't matter anyway. I'm just saying that I feel like there's a lot more water traffic to spot somebody in the Atlantic, depending on where.
I mean, yeah, but that's the thing. The ocean is pretty big, and seeing one plane, which probably looks very similar to other planes in the sky at this moment, is like, so what? You know, who cares, right? Now, she talking to her parents of a popular restaurant in a Chinatown, which is a tourist attraction in Yokohama. Now, that would certainly spread the word very quickly.
I
Oh
mean,
yes, we saw your daughter walk in. Was she supposed to be dead?
I, I didn't write it down. I don't know why, but she does say, "I thought you died a long time ago in the Unification War," which goes against the entire "I thought you died recently in the bomb the anti-UN set up on the island." It doesn't make any sense, and I didn't write it down because it makes so little sense. I could not even like. It's like trying to argue somebody who just denies reality all the time. It's like I don't know how to put this into an argument anymore. You said you died a long time ago in the Unification War. You thought your daughter has been dead since before the Macross took off.
Yeah, I think you. Okay, I think the reason that is not very clear. I think what they
Oh, sorry,
meant to
sorry,
say.
sorry. Before you correct me, give me a moment to correct myself. I'm now remembering why I didn't write it down. She said a long time ago, and time is relative, and it's been a year. So it's possibly she means a long time ago as a year. Sorry, I'm just now remembering it. After I started thinking about the television station thing, which, by the way, I still think broadcasts over the horizon because it's a television signal. Uh, and hell, same way the ham radio just bounces across the atmosphere sometimes. But I don't know. I got one comment left. I'm gonna. I've made my point clear. This is dumb. This arc that we're doing that everyone's dead is just fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And my last thought here. So I was rather flippant about Takashi Hayase's note to his daughter after they left the "You Are All Dead" meeting, but I really feel the need to point out that Takashi is a more complex person than the meeting made him out to be. The conversation Global has with Misa on the ride to the meeting implies that he's the type that would contradict direct orders from his superiors in order to protect the people under his command. So seeing him going along with this insanity either makes me feel like he's changed from the person that they once knew, or that the circumstances have changed to make it seem like this course of action is just that necessary. So far, we haven't interacted with him enough to tell which is which.
Mhm. The whole issue, and I mean, here's the thing that I have a problem with. It's like, oh no, we cannot reveal the fact that aliens really exist. A giant alien spaceship crashed into your planet and you rebuilt it as a warship. So you know that A, aliens exist, and B, they have powerful weapons. Now, the fact that I guess they underestimated their ability to take on the enemy, like, oh, they didn't just show up a couple of ships, they showed up like several thousand ships. And now you're telling us that they can destroy an entire planet. It's like, oh, and the technology, just the teleportation technology, can just destroy an island. They're like, oh dear. It kind of reminds me a lot of, again, Mass Effect, when they went like, oh yeah, the Reapers are powerful. We saw a Reaper, and then next Mass Effect 2 is like, Reapers? What Reapers? We didn't see no Reapers. Oh no, gee golly whiz, there were no Reaper attack. There was just some other alien species that attacked, because the idea of attacking of a Reaper is too much for us. We're not going to talk about Reapers. You're crazy for talking about the Reapers. There is no war in Bouncing Sing.
Yeah, that they immediately took over all the media, they said.
Yeah.
I can't let that get out. Yeah. Well, like I said, Global brings up the fact that he went against direct orders to secure food and resources for his men when they were starving by
Mhm.
raiding their own allied forces. That this guy is not just like buckle down, follow the rules no matter what. He's willing to go off the rails if it's required. Or it seems like it's required. So the implication is either again that he's changed, but we don't know him, so it's hard to tell,
Yeah.
or that this is that extreme. In which case, it's hard to tell too, because it's hard to, you know, when you're my friend, but I can't tell. It seems like you're going dictator. Have you changed?
We the baddies.
All right. Well, these have been all of my thoughts. You have any final inputs before we get into this?
No, that's all I have right now.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and roll into the next episode of SDF Macross. But before we get started, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed that algorithm. On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can check it out over on the Patreon. Just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure. It's all to support the channel, just a little bit extra. Oh boy, I was wondering what we were going to start with today. Glad it was this. To be fair, I do get the song stuck in my head all the time now. Maybe not so much the
Yeah.
words, just
The
the
cadence, yeah.
yeah. Well, at least the very beginning part, the da 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 da. I did actually take a. I don't know if it was this morning or maybe it was last night. The thought occurred to me is like, just the other superdimensional shows, are they in the same universe as this? They are not. They are
No, they're
not.
not.
They are not. I saw you open your mouth. I saw you think for a second. It's like they're not. They are not. They are not. All they share is the text super dimensional. I will say
Yeah.
though, they do sound super interesting.
I do want to I watch a little bit of Orgus, but not too much. I like a couple of episodes, and I
Uh,
also caught a couple of bit of Southern Cross. I should watch Southern Cross as is.
Southern
You know.
Cross is the one that sounded more interesting to me because it sounded more grounded. Orgus sounded like an isekai. Just, you know, we took your plane and we built a robot out of it. Okay, thanks.
Um, Well, Orgus, I think it's in the future. Like, well, this is also in the future. All of them are in the future. The sci-fi, but they're like in the future of Earth without aliens. It's just like through a future war, and then 100 years pass, and then they rediscover the Orgus.
Oh, that's
Right?
right. I forgot about that. You know, he gets transported to a future ruined Earth or something like that. I just remember the picture of the Orgus. And it's like, that looks ugly. What did you do to my plane? Whereas Southern Cross just sounded like an interesting concept, you know. Settle a planet. Oh, the aliens come back.
ひどすぎる。上陸許可が下りないなんて。まあ、総司令部なんてそんなものよ。頭の固い連中ばっかり。こんな決定を黙って受け入れるんですか？艦長、拒否なさる
Well,
んですか？
unfortunately, they removed my right to vote when I died.
与えられた任務を遂行していてくれたまえ。私は今このことをどう市民に知らせようと頭を抱えとるんだ。わかるね。
あ、艦長。もう。ダメだ
Oh,
こりゃ。
he didn't bump his head this time.
Yeah.
艦長は司令部で強行に反対されたのよ。
I was noting that in my head, but then I saw how fast the door closed on him. That was fucking
司令
dangerous.
部のやり方って腹が立つわね。ほんと。ねえ、街で憂さ晴らししない？うん、その意見考慮。
They can't fire me. I'm already dead.
いらっしゃいませ。
That's their son. They kind of had a reverse situation where he's been living with her parents and she's been living with his
ただ
parents.
いま、母さん。
カイ夢じゃないだろうね。
夢じゃないよ、母さん。
I mean, I will go so far as to say he's a good-looking guy.
Hmm.
I mean, in the art style of the show as compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
もらい泣きしちゃった。あ、やだ。ひかるちゃんが恥ずかしいとこ。
いえ、そんな。
The real problem is it feels like he knows that too. Also, did he just walk through her? The animation kind of
Yeah.
bugged out there.
あなた。
いいんだよ母さん。父さんは昔からああなんだから。
Is that a Hardee's behind here down there? Hikaru? I don't know what I'm doing with my voice here.
バカ息子ね。これ食えるのかな。
What did you get into?
いい匂いはしてくるぜ。なんでもいいか
Oh.
ら食っちまうぜ。
Oh,
The window.
That's why. Yeah, yeah, man.
ところで、これはどうやって出すんだ？どこにも取り出し口はないが、仕方ない。ロリやれ。え、俺？まあいいや。よし。
あんたたち何やってるん
Was
だ
it display food too?
食べ物じゃないよ。そんなものを食べたくなるなんて、よほどお腹が空いてたんだろうね。わかったよ。中に入んな。何か食べさせてあげるから。
Far more understanding than I thought she'd be.
おい、あ、待ってくれ。
The restaurant next door is a Japanese restaurant. It's like they get to eat for free.
I am not sitting under the TV. That looks legit. There's a table right there. I'd be like, oh god, this place shakes a lot.
一条注意。
That's a pretty solid TV. That looks like a, you know, like a ton of TV.
早瀬大と一緒なんて。
いや、街をぶらついてたら捕まっちゃいまして。
一条注意。一体この騒ぎは何です？
家出していた民名のいとこ。つまり民名のおじさんの実の息子が帰ってきたのさ。
So now the command crew knows that somebody's left and come back.
押しかけてきたってわけ。
Wow. Yeah.
大爆笑。あら、キムさん、およだれが。あんたも目の色変わった
So I'm glad that I brought up the fact that now the command crew knows somebody left and came back, and instantly the show is obviously taking the most important facet to mind, right?
Yeah.
おばさんったら喜んじゃって。
ヒカルちゃんのお腹までか。まあ、えらいびっぴんさんばっかりで。おい、海軍さん。
And
Mayor's been out of the loop a long time now.
yeah. Yeah, he's not gonna like it.
よく来てくださいました。
Are they trying to imply that Kaifun and Ryber look the same or something?
Apparently.
They do not, not even in their own art style.
わてなどぐつわ悪いこと言うたらしい。
Yeah, you open your mouth.
まあ、若い人は若い人として。ほな、まあ、ごゆっくり。
軍隊がお嫌いなんですか？
ええ、私は争いを好みません。戦いは何も生み出しません。戦いのもたらすもの、それは破壊だけです。
Much as this kid is
破壊のもたらす
clearly going to be a prick,
破壊だけ。
his is the message of the show, is it not?
やってるわけじゃ。
Gotta hate it when the asshole's right.
みんな、どうしちゃったの？海軍が帰ってきたお祝いの席じゃないの。そうだ、今私の出てる番組があるのよ。誰かテレビつけて。
よっしゃ。
See, they are still broadcasting, as I said.
キュンキュンキュンキュン。
She's standing right there. Like, oh, Minmei, what?
途中ですが、臨時ニュースを申し上げます。
I guess the problem is also she's got the one song.
発表によりますと、
Yeah.
検疫処置のため、マクロスの民間人に対する上陸許可は差し止められました。もちろん、これは暫定的な処置です。市民の皆さんは、軽挙盲導を慎み、秩序ある行動をお願いします。
The guy has a mic
上陸もできないのか。
thing and then two mics in front of him.
一体私たちの何を検疫するっていうの？
Oh, hey. Haven't seen the kid in a while.
では、 引き続き歌をどうぞ。
Well, he's wearing the same outfit we saw him wear 8 months ago.
看護師制の発表があれじゃあね。町の人が怒るのも無理ないわよ。
I mean, to be fair, though, if they get super angry, you could just close all the giant metal hatches. What are they gonna do?
ここにいる。ここでちゃんと説明してもらおうじゃねえかな。さあ説明してもらおうじゃないか。
そんな俺いや僕は何も。
やめなさい。それが秩序あるし。
Look, I just got back. I left the ship.
落ち着けだと？これが落ち着いていられるかよ。いいか、貴様らのせいで俺たちは土地を失ってしまったんだ。だけど今は地球に
This
戻っ
literally
てきて
doesn't
るんだ。
make any sense from its own perspective, right?
そう、それなのに上陸できないなんて。
Is one of these angry people going to question how Kaifun got onto the ship if we're under quarantine?
地球に戻してやる。すぐ船から降
You
ろ
know, the
して
reason
や
why
る
we're all
ってね。
here?
俺たちはもうこれ以上騙されんぞ。みんな。
こいつらを捕虜にして軍に上陸を許可させるんだ。
行きましょう。
I thought you were just listening to what they said.
何をするんですか。
うるせえ。やめないか。こんなことをしてどうなると思ってるんです。うるせえってんだ。
I like the zero hesitation. Should you just throw a punch? Like, where all the tables go? All the tables are missing. Oh no, we got one now.
Hugging in the nuts as he passed by.
Yeah, why?
カイフンさん、あんたもかい。
Oh, Hikaru can actually fight.
Oh, Kung Fu Dandy, right.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope everybody on the street isn't also as angry as this place. What's gonna turn into that Kingsman movie?
Yeah.
It's our cousin! God damn. That's not everything.
それも受けの方しか使っていない。あれが中国憲法の方なのか。初めて見た。
You ever seen a movie ever? Come on.
強いんですね。
人を傷つけるためには。
Except that one guy punched in the nuts for no reason at all.
Yeah.
I guess we're doubling down too, because it seems like Misa almost might have had a thing with Hikaru. And here we are. I still honestly don't know what her deal is.
痛いよ、そんなに強く。
あら、ごめんなさい。
It wouldn't. Wow, her eyes just jumped up out. You saw that? It wouldn't be so creepy if she didn't look at him so weirdly all the time. Oops. By the way, what's the intent here, do you think? The voice thing, is it like echoey because they're so big, or?
No, I think it's when they're talking in their alien language. That's where they're using the echo.
未確認飛行物体接近中。
何？
高度12000、11000。
Conceivably,
Oh,
if
at least they-
anybody has a telescope, they're gonna find out that aliens exist. Or hell, coming towards Earth, binoculars.
早瀬隊員たちを呼び戻してくれ。
Yes, sir.
Or eyes.
鉄艦降下 K32R56 ポイントに着水の模様。
敵か。まあ迎撃ミサイルでも撃っておきたまえ。イエスサー。連中の目標はマクロスだからな。今の地球にマクロスというには担ぎきれん。
遭遇推定時間まであと
This was our unhinged pilot guy, right?
戦いは破壊しかもたらしません。
ミサミサミサポケットしてどうしたの？あなたも肩が凝るような相手見つけたの？
Damn.
そんな人いないわよ。統合軍総司令部より入電。迎撃ミサイルを発射したそうです。
生かさず殺さずか。
And at this point, you can just become your own country.
隊長、反撃しねえのか。俺たちは星に手を出すわけにはいかねえんだよ。攻撃目標は星じゃねえってわけか。そういうことだ。
I'm confused because this seems like a whole ship.
バルキリー隊第
I could have sworn it looked like a ship broke in half and then launched itself forwards.
Yeah.
敵艦より空戦ポット発進。
I'm sorry, they suddenly became like 1,000 times more effective than they've ever been.
奴らの尻に火をつけて宇宙にいぶり出して。
So even the Centrati want them back into space.
白兵戦になる模様。
I mean, I guess he wants him in space so that he can actually properly destroy. Because he
Can't
seems
touch
to be
the planet.
playing with. Yeah, he's playing with the rules. Like I can't attack them directly, but blah blah blah.
バーミリオン小隊は第3ブロックの防衛に当たれ。
早瀬隊
I mean, your aim sucks. Literally, you're sitting targets.
10万機ですか
Yeah.
100万機ですか。怒鳴り散らされるかと思った。バーミリオン小隊発艦します。
Oh, there you go. One of them got in.
Well, remember, they also damaged their thrusters coming down and landing in the water, so are they even able to take off right now? Not the foot! Look how destroyable that thing is. He punched the foot, so literally the only damage it took was falling down.
Yeah.
And it exploded.
バーミリオン小隊、直ちに第7ブロックの防衛に回れ。
了解。
了解。
了解。なんだ。
敵第2波急速接近中。
Ah, yes, the much better
この
ones.
作戦はカムジンの独断行為阻止が目的である。敵には絶対手を出すな。
敵には手を出すな。そうは言ってもそういう命令って実行しにくいんだな。ほらもう命令違反だ。
カムジン聞こえるか。直ちに攻撃をやめたまえ。
I'm saying, so we don't know not to attack you, that you're not attacking us.
命令なんだ。俺は敵艦に手を出してるだけだぞ。星には指一本だ。
貴様、そんな詭弁が通じると本気で思っているのか。直ちに帰還せよ。
分かったよ。帰りゃいいんだろ。突撃隊、直ちに撤収する。
Oh, I like that, that's cool.
もう帰るんで。
仕方ねえだろ。ラプランズ司令直々のお出ましだ。なあ、ところで置き土産を忘れんなよ。
土産？あ、忘れるもんすけい。
It was a note that I had written before, but I, deleted because I couldn't figure out how to put it down properly. I am super confused by the fact that men and women in the Centrati can't be on the same ship. I have no problem talking to one another constantly, though. Because it almost went from, like, seeming like they didn't understand the other ones existed, to, no, they're constantly talking to each other on voice.
本艦に突っ込
visual.
こうかける気だな。直ちにダイダロスアタック体制。急げ。
イエスさん、全部署に発令、全部署に発令。
Cool that we just named it.
大丈夫か？はい、大丈夫です。少し離れていましたから。ただの外れ玉ですわ。
バーミリオン正体、今
Look, he's not like my favorite character or anything, but at times like this, I'm wondering, where the fuck is Rick? He's like the best pilot we got. Where is he at?
In Poker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's starting to appear in this
Oh,
episode.
sorry.
I guess.
I said Rick. I meant Roy.
Yeah.
素早いのがいるな。ここは我々に任して。隊長は奴を追ってください。
Oh, was that guy fixing their engines? Because I'm hoping that. Well, no, we know we can't do that. It's the one thing he can't do.
いた。
I would have loved if that was the surprise. He's fixing their engines so they can take off. Okay, so we're getting a Garmazabi scene.
ダイダロスアタック発動20秒前。しつこいやつだ。ダイダロスアタック8秒前。7、6、5、4、3、2。
He's not even on the bridge, lady. With your eyes.
ミサ。ダイダロスアタック。
We got a problem with Misa. Do you know what this is? This is Invincible of its time. You know, like when they do the train fight scene? Did you watch Invincible?
No.
No, well then never mind. That's one for you in the audience.
Yeah.
ダイダロスアタック第2波成功。敵艦消滅。
I was about to say, is it falling backwards or was it walking backwards?
俺の突撃艦は犬死にか。
カムジン、どうやらプレゼントは届かなかったようだな。今回収艇に乗せてやるよ。
引き上げだ。
That is our normal pilot guy, though, right?
Yeah, that's the
敵
Kamijin or whatever his name is.
Yeah, his face looks different for some reason.
深追いはするな。戦闘は終わったんだ。しかししばらくはこのままの体制を維持したまえ。
イエスさん。
ああ、早瀬隊。君は実質で休息を取りたまえ。
Yeah, she's acting like,
何も生み出しません。
you've seen Airplane, right?
Yeah. I know the part you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
わからない。何もかも。分かっているのは海軍がライバー少尉じゃないってこと。
Nor does he look like Ryber.
Yeah.
I feel like Ryber once implied that war was bad, and then Misa was like, it's Ryber again! Wow, that is gray skin. This man's dead. Oh, and then he gets like a piece of metal put over this part of the face, and it turns out that Hikaru was Krundak from the future? That was Hikaru, right?
Yeah, that was here.
エースパイロット ミリアとの空中戦で撃墜されたヒカルは深手を負ってしまった。手術室に運び込まれたヒカルは朦朧とした意識の中で悪夢にうなされていた。次回、超時空要塞マクロスファンタズマ。
I hope you guys really liked that recap episode we did with Global's Report, because now it's time for the Dreamscape.
Yeah.
Which I can no doubt imagine we're going to get some more recaps with. Look, man, I'm going to say, first half of this episode had a real problem with, because it was literally, we're going to quarantine you because nobody can leave the ship. By the way, you're in a room with a guy who both left the ship and a guy who just came onto the ship. And you know about it because it's literally a party for him. Now, let's not ever address this again. In fact, let's all forget about it. In the middle of the same party that we're still in, so that we can have a fist fight.
They turn on the soldiers, the members of the UN Spacey, and not the guy who just came. I was like, oh, how did this guy,
Well, because even the command staff don't even think about, well, where'd he come from? Right? The people who just had a whole meeting about, what do you mean we're dead? Well, how do we break this to the civilians? They don't care. That guy's cute. Granted, I assume that maybe they just don't know all 50,000 civilians on the ship.
No, but they were told that was Ming Mei's cousin.
Yeah, the whole party is literally about him coming here. So, it's not like they're hiding it. It's just that the show is doing that thing that I hate most shows do, is forgetting your own narrative. And most of the time when I have a problem with it, it's a multi-episode thing. Like, wait a second, didn't we just cover this 2 episodes ago? And this is literally seconds from each other, right? We go from the bridge thing where, God, the UN is so full of dumb people. They're so hard-headed to the UN, to arriving at the... Actually, no, I guess technically it's a couple of minutes, because we go through a starving alien scene where they try to eat fake food, to then, literally, round the corner, enter the restaurant, and forget completely about how dumb the UN is for making us all dead. To, hey, this is Kaifu. He's just meeting his parents again for a long time.
I guess now, they imposed it after he arrived, so he's now stuck here. Now
But
he's part of the quarantine.
None of them questioned the fact, like, well, wait, because the quarantine is their whole, we don't have to tell them they're all dead. All we have to do is prevent them from getting off the ship. They, in the command staff, still know the whole, we're all dead thing. So they don't even address the fact that, wait, you got off the ship? You know?
They knew Ming Mei was leaving anyway, and she came back, so...
We don't know that they knew that Ming Mei was leaving, because they never call into tower, right? They're not like, this is whatever the fuck this plane is called, requesting permission to, runway. Obviously, that's not how this sentence goes, but I just couldn't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I get it.
You get that? This is also a phone in my hand. That's not actually my hand.
Actually, it would be with your mic. You would be like this with the mic. So.
Yeah. None of this is a good example of anything. But, yeah. I'm saying they never called in anything. We have no idea if Hikaru actually told anybody. Like, did he take time off? We know he's randomly just tries to leave his job every time he can get to hang out with Minmay. Remember Miss Macross? He's supposed to be on duty. He gets on a bike and just pedals to the stadium. Dude has no care for his job. And yet, maybe he just decided to leave,
No, I think he got leave for it. I think they explained it, that in fact he was selected to fly her back to Japan.
Well, I don't remember that part. But, I don't know. I guess it would have come, again, before the orders or not the orders, I don't know, the declaration of their deaths.
Yeah.
Conceivably, they should be picking up radio station, not radio, well, radio. They should be radio stations and television stations from outside the Macross as well. Or no, well, I get. Here's the problem: we know that they took over the media. The UN took over the media. My question is no one news station talking about the deaths of the
Um,
Macross City?
I mean, they would a year ago, maybe, but now, I mean,
I
after a
don't
while,
know.
people just move on.
Remember,
People move on. Yeah.
well, I don't know. Remember, this is Macross City, the site of the alien spacecraft that we fought World War III over. Is how few people are so unconnected to the loss of everything in World War
Yeah, I know,
III.
but I know, but the announcement that everybody was dead was done a year ago, right? So by this time, it's just
I
done.
would
You
argue
wouldn't have
that
you,
investigative journalism was a lot bigger in the 80s than it is today. That people would be in there would be boats combing the area for wreckage and people who were trying to get rich wanting to see if they could find alien tech at the bottom of the bomb site. There would be people wanting to find remains of their loved ones. There is so much shit that should be happening. It would take like the brain of an author that did not think of any of this to come up with a scenario that we're in now.
I think I'm more worried about the tsunamis that occurred when the island disappeared. Because when that water comes back rushing in, it's going to be a natural disaster.
Yeah,
You know,
because it was more than just the land. Plus, it's the water filling. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's not even something I can even imagine. I'd have to like do research to figure out what the science is on. Because you also the air, right? That would be a massive explosion of the air just being ripped out, and then the atmosphere of the Earth filling itself back in. Because obviously we don't see that when they transport into space, but that is just cubic, kilometers of oxygen just being ripped out of the atmosphere. Yeah, there's just so much. Like, I was just thinking earlier today how upset I would be if Macross got a live action film before Gundam did. Gundam, I think, deserves it more. It's got more shit out there. It's been around longer. It has. I don't think I've had these same arguments with Gundam. I'm not saying Gundam is better. I think they're both equally good. I'm just thinking that Gundam rationalizes itself out more.
yeah, I suppose so. I mean, they did try. They were gonna make an American version or Canadian version of a live action, but that got canceled.
Well, yeah, no, there's I actually have one of my tabs somewhere on here, the book of well, one I have the screenplay, and then I also have the book of like little drawings that they were gonna do for like storyboarding each scene, because I had the stupid idea back when I had a lot more time on my hands to put like make an AI read the text and then put like the storyboard thing above it, so you could just like watch like a reading of how the movie would
Yeah.
have played, that sort of thing. But yeah, no. I was upset, but now thinking about it, having gone over all of this horrible decision making that went into this one episode, that I'm thinking that Macross maybe really. Sorry, I'm now having thoughts in the middle of my thought. The idea that you know how we've talked about the idea that future Macross episodes are going to look back on this and they're
Yeah.
going to recontextualize everything from their own new
Yeah.
perspectives. That's
Yeah.
how you solve this problem is that was kind of dumb what we did back here. What if we rewrote that with a different perspective? What if we considered the things that we didn't consider?
Yeah. There's gonna be some of that in the future. I don't want to say too much because spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was just thinking that maybe a reboot would be in order and then we could just do this like real just consider everything, right? Well, anyway, I have ranted at length about this. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Um, I just noticed how, and it kind of shows not only the animation of the day, but also how tight the because for those who watch the series. There is a new and I was going to warn you about this, not to watch it because it came out like this week. Explaining Macross.
We had there was one or two comments about it. I got 11 minutes in, and they literally start saying, and then the Satrati start, and I'm like, whoa, pause, and I stopped. I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
The comment I believe is once we get up to like episode 28, I can watch that video.
Yeah. Or maybe watch at least the entirety of the first, the series, right?
Well,
but yeah,
that's what the commenters say, that the spoilers only go up to episode 28 in the Secret Galaxy video.
Yeah. But it does explain that the original CF Macross was on their very tight schedule, and you can see where they have the time to make like actually the animation and the those silent stills where they have more high quality, and then they jump to something else. And I think that's also why they reuse a lot of footage, because they're reusing the footage that actually looks better from earlier in the show, right? Because now it kind of vacillates a little bit.
I mean, not to keep tying them together, but I understand that because Gundam had the same problem. Gundam got canceled before it was done, so just a thing that happens with these shows, I guess.
Yep. I mean, this was the early days of anime, and you didn't know what a hit was going to be about.
It's funny to hear that because we were just talking about 1963 anime a couple hours ago.
Yeah. I mean, I say a real robot anime, right? The shift from super heroic robots to more, war as hell type of stories that we're getting with Gundam and Macross and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's been everything, right? Nothing else you want to get out there real quick before the end? All right. All right. Well, well, this has been another episode of Stone-Faced Reactions. I've been Theta. This is Lessons. This has been episode 16, if I remember correctly, of SDF Macross. We will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?